Hello and a very warm welcome to today's webinar, and congratulations to taking the time out to follow Kevin, Boon and myself and what we have to share with you that can turn your business around and change the whole reality of your actual salon or barbershop business model. And with me all the way from Brussels in Belgium, Mr. Kevin Boon. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks to introducing me. So, guys, we have a lot to tell you guys. We're talking about personal branding, a new organization structure of 2021's hairdressing salon or barbershop. We have a whole new concept, a whole new structure and motivating aspects that surely you guys want to know.
I'm really excited to do this today with you. So we also took the decision to create this kind of webinar so that everybody can follow what you have to share, combined with my market insights and maybe hopefully take this to come out of this a bit more motivated and also feeling empowered again, so that people have more ammunition to upgrade their current business model, review what they already have, what they've been able to accomplish, but now really take it to the next level, right? Yeah, just a little bit on the structure here. So we have 60 minutes, that's the plan. And what we're going to do is, again, first section is on theory. So giving you some ideas and some case studies and some market research that is really, really interesting. And on the second part, we're going to talk about real life implementation. So how you can really take these things into your salon scenario, into your salon reality, and then also change things around. And Kevin is going to talk also about some of the results. Yeah, so what is the money that is in there waiting for you? So take a pen and a piece of paper. You will appreciate that you've taken your own notes, and then obviously we have a conclusion at the end. But make sure that you take your notes and take the stuff here with you. And this is the opportunity to change your life as a salon owner. So. Right? So enough said, let's dive deep into the presentation that we put together for you guys. So thank you congratulations for really taking the time out to watch this video and watch this webinar. And I think this is a fantastic first step that you've taken as a salon owner to really grab hold of what you have there for your team, for your clients, for your business, for your family, ultimately, because we're in a very difficult time right now, right? So lockdown, COVID, pandemic, everything seems to kind of an end scenario, but, the brave ones are also the ones that are coming out of the crisis stronger. So I encourage you to take this as an opportunity also to reshape your thinking, reshape your mindset, and think about, okay, what are the tiny different or the little things inside this presentation that I can take also to kind of climb out of the mental disaster, that everybody's kind of experienced when switching on the news. Okay, having said that, it's all about you. So this 60 minutes is your chance, your opportunity to really start reviewing what you've accomplished over the past and what you want to do going forward. And we give you some great examples on things that you can take away and then implement directly into your salon business. So we believe, and this is true for Kevin and myself, because we love to do education, because it's about sharing. Yeah, it's about being humble. It's about being on eye level, so to say. And we want to, really help you to come out of this crisis, better and stronger. And I think this presentation is also a great opportunity to rethink if our current salon business model that we see across the different cities or countries, because we are kind of actively globally, so we also have the opportunity to tap into salon businesses from Japan to Brazil to Russia to France to Belgium to Germany. And it's really interesting to look, behind the scenes what's going on there in terms of numbers, in terms of financials, but also in terms of how they activate their clientele. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity to ask yourself the question, and pause for a minute and ask yourself the question, is my current salon business model or barbershop business model that I'm running really, really sustainable? So is that something that I can use to create the future that I have envisioned for myself, for my team, for my guys that work with me, also for my clients. Is that really something that is fit for the future? And if the answer is no, then what does it need to change in order to do the necessary decision making in order to do the upgrades that are necessary. So I'm really glad to talk to you today, because if this crisis has taught me one thing, is that it's really important to focus on the individual. So you are a special person. You taking the time out today to follow us on this webinar, and you can really make a difference. Yeah. And this thing here today should give you really some extra ammunition when you go back to your salon and your staff is approaching you saying, hey boss, I'm struggling a little bit. I'm looking for a little bit of support. And then you might have some answers that really excite them, inspire them, and also making them want to do more, like an intrinsic motivation to change and adapt, and then also, do more for the better, for the greater good for your salon, but also for themselves and for their clientele. So let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that arise from this crisis for you, for your salon, and for the team. Okay, so I like to take you on a journey today, and I would like to take you on a journey to show you some principles that lead to the necessary decision making in order to level up your current salon business model. The new normal, as they all talk about, cannot be a business as usual, I believe. It is applied in politics, yes, but hey, let's look into what you can really do to change the whole game for you. And also during this presentation, I would like to encourage you to maybe do the training a little bit differently. So I would also like to encourage you to pay close attention, be aware of the tiny little reactions that your body shows you. So maybe you get some goosebumps in between, especially when Kevin is talking later about what it can mean for your business. So these are little tiny signs that your body is giving you, saying, boss, this is exactly the way we're going to do. This is what we grab hold of. This is what we're going to do now to change. Yeah. And I'm really encouraging you to sit still and then, pay close attention to these little sensations that are coming up. And you are now in front of the computer alone. So this is also the beauty of virtual education, right? So why don't you say for yourself that this is a time now where being a salon owner can become very easy right now? And and I think this is also very okay to do so, because nobody's listening to you first place. But there's also something great into it, because if that is an affirmation, and for instance somebody like Tony Robbins would put it up on YouTube, that video would be trending on that same day and he would have 4 million clicks. So maybe there's something into these little affirmations and little techniques to kind of become a little bit more resilient and also change the mindset a little bit to be more stable when you go through the transition. Okay, so salon of the future, what does it look like? Yeah, what does it look like? What does the salon of the future look like? So salons will close down. There's still people that want to get their hair done. They want to have proper fades. They want to make sure that they are looking good. No? And so what does it look like? So if you close their eyes for a minute and think about the changes that are possible, because there is still a high number of people that want to tap into a great service and great experience. And there's employees that are searching for a great entrepreneur that gives them the platform to perform and to shine. This crisis can really be a big opportunity, and we like to keep it positive, right? So it's yes and in terms of when you talk about it. So it's an up spiral, yeah? So it's kind of something that is really good, really looking good, and should give you a lot of positive energy to tackle these issues and the challenges that are waiting in front of you. Okay, so where do we start? I'm a great numbers guy, so I'm always trying to find some statistics, some research, some data, some evidence to mark the level 0, right? So the ground level, so the base for every strategic decision making that we come up with. And I think this is a fantastic one that was just released in Germany, and you can find out for yourself, or you can decide for yourself if that is also relevant for you in France or in Belgium or in Holland or in Denmark, from no matter where you're watching. This is also why we do it in English, because, our following is kind of European, yeah, so to say. And I found this really interesting, the statistics. And I mean, Germany is a very important market because, three of the main key players in the world of, hair cosmetics are, they're based in Germany and they're coming from Germany. So there might be something to it. And it's also the biggest number in terms of, the biggest market in terms of salon numbers. So that's really interesting to see. So, and what the German body for statistics, the official body for statistics, found out is that, hairdressers in general manage to generate roughly, 28,000 euros in sales. And I find this number really interesting because it's so small, right? And it becomes even smaller and clearer when you put that into comparison to other craftsmen. And, because a hairdresser is actually providing a service with their own hands, right? So a tiler would do that as well. So somebody that is making sure that the layout of your bathroom at home is pretty nice. So he would, generate 4.5 times more than a hairdresser in the same period of 12 months. And why is that? Because they are still also working with their own hands. So it's kind of, you can compare the productivity rates here when we want to talk about KPIs. So like, the success factors of your salon or barbershop are comparable. And they turn over 4.5 times more. So if that is the case, what would change for your salon if you would be able to, quadruple the number of sales that you're doing right now, that you're producing right now? And I think this is great, but it's even greater to start thinking about what would I be able to do with that money? Setting up my own things, and maybe Kevin can talk later about what he is doing with the money. And you're going to be surprised how that taps all into, that interlinks and creates that kind of new reality that kind of is really ready for the future. But I let him talk about that. So I'm getting excited about these numbers because I see there's a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity here. And the other thing that, our salon accounts that we look after always, reported back to me is like, we do not find the right personnel. We do not find the right caliber of barbers that work for us. We do not find the right talent out there in the market. Everybody seems to be busy in other shops, but nobody wants to work for us. This is also crazy because when you look at this here, it says that, the salons they have set free employees. So they have a turnover now. So there's more people in the market that are actually searching for a new job for whatever reason. Maybe they found out that the old boss wasn't that rock that they could lean on. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but it's definitely different. There's definitely a change. So, but what is clearly to me as well when I'm looking into these numbers, we cannot maintain the way we did it before. So there's definitely the importance to press pause for a minute, hold, breathe, think, and then, really find out what you want to do. What do you stand for? What is your positioning? What is your value base? And why are you doing what you're doing every day? And why should anybody take notice? Yeah. And I think this is really important that you make that homework, that exercise now, because if you have that, then you can rebrand, then you can start working on what really makes a difference for you, what counts, and then you can also change the reality step by step. But that is a very good starting point. Okay. So, now let's ask ourselves the question, why should you really stop now? And why should you think about changing for the better, for the greater good? And what can you really do? So let's take a look into our toolbox that we have as barbers, as hairdressers, as salon owners, as self-employed people, as session stylists, whatever, everybody that is involved in this hair and beauty industry. Because now it's the time where the cards are dealt new. Yeah. So if you're into poker and you want to, secure your position at the final table, then this is a fantastic opportunity, a fantastic moment in time because there's new cards. Yeah. So everything is changing. All the moving parts are kind of in motion. So let's take a look into what we can do and what's inside our toolbox that we have thought about before or maybe forgotten about, but let's kind of, refocus on what we can actually do. And I like to talk about positioning because positioning is really, for me, is the true power of your salon marketing. And so marketing being bringing more people in, getting higher average tickets, you name it. Yeah. So, and this follows a strategy. And positioning, everybody's talking about it. So let me just quickly explain what positioning actually means for me, so that we are all on the same page here. It means that you have the opportunity to place yourself, so your brand, into the mind of your customer or potential customer. So it means that you can actively work on how your brand is perceived and what it stands for. And the only place where it really matters for you and your salon business is ultimately the place in the brain, or better, the conscious mind of your customer, that is going to sit in your chair to get the service done by your people. And I think this is really, where you can make a difference. And positioning helps you. So let's take a closer look on how that can be activated and how you can use that to secure your salon business and growth. We found out, or not we found out, but it's kind of another market research that we pulled in to show you some data and some evidence to back up what we're talking about today. It's like, and this is the GfK, so it's the Gesellschaft für Konsumforschung, also from Germany. In Nuremberg, they're situated. And, they found out what people buy. So what are the key areas, the key components that engage people to spend money, or willing to, engage them to become willing to spend money. And it's like a three-tone chord in music, yeah? So it's like a Dreiklang, we say in Germany. It's expertise, it's clear positioning, and it's individual experience. Okay, so individual experience doesn't come as a surprise, because we all know from ourselves, we love that, right? So if we feel well looked after, we say like, oh, this is exciting. That was a nice day. That was a nice restaurant visit, if you can remember. So, but it's like kind of, we want to keep it positive, but it's kind of, this is the reality. It's like, we are desperate to go back and have this experience, right? The red wine tastes a lot better if it was recommended by a sommelier than a normal waiter, right? So, and I think these are the key components that we can, again, use this time now that we have to focus on the customer journey and think about the measures that we put in place to activate those different touch points on this customer journey. Especially now with COVID and all the different things that come in with salon hygiene and testing and you name it. It's like, how can you still do that so that your customer has a safe but also an exciting experience? Yeah, I mean, the smile can still be done somehow. Okay, you can't hug people, but it's kind of, it takes a bit of energy, and it takes a bit of time to look into these things and then come up with some ideas that make a difference for your business. Clear positioning is also very interesting, because the clear positioning can be achieved by specialization. So if you say you narrow down your offering, for instance, you're a normal hairdressing salon, now you focus on barbering. Within that barbering section, you focus on skin fading, and you become an expert in skin fading. If you ask somebody where to get the best gentleman's haircut, they will probably name you, because you're specialized in that area. They call you an expert, right? And this is interesting, because we see that everywhere in the news right now. We see people that are doctors, or people from a medical background, and they are specialized on the field of virology, right? So they know a lot about this tiny little fraction of the medicinal universe. And, we see the specialization, and our brain transforms or kind of processes this data and comes to the conclusion that, this person must be an expert. So fantastic. Why don't we do that in our salon as well? So we focus on barbering. We kind of specialize in the area of, man grooming, or focusing on skin fading or whatever. And we ultimately become the specialist / the expert for what we want to do. So people buy three things: expertise can be achieved through specialization. A clear positioning also benefits from that, because we get rid of the collateral stuff that everybody else is offering, so we don't need to focus on that anymore. Also in the restaurants, for instance. And then individual experience is still key, because people need to understand, need to experience, need to feel the love that you put into your shop or into your service processes, etc. So I think this is super cool. And this kind of three components can be used to upgrade any kind of service. And now think about the product range that you have. There's so many barbering or grooming brands out there that you can actually use to upgrade your offering. Yeah, so also changing things around, so different packaging, different wording. But there's already, over the last couple of years, there were so many brands that are coming that could possibly kind of complement your offering, complement your business. to give you the turbo boost, yeah, to deliver against these three main thresholds. So it's a bit of marketing talk that I'm doing here. Sorry about that, but it's kind of still specialization, expertise, positioning. So what kind of service are you focusing on? What are you really good at? Where are you the best? And why are you doing it? And then experience. So I want to experience the ultimate kind of customer journey. And if you can do that, if you can achieve that, then I'm becoming your evangelist, yeah, for your salon business. I'm becoming your ambassador, talking about it on social media, etc., etc. Okay, because the only thing that you need to do is focus on the desires of the modern man, because this is exactly what we talk about today, and then focus on grooming, making a statement. So when you listen to Kevin later in the presentation, then you will see what it takes to create that kind of perfect punkt. So it's kind of, there's a lot of, perfection. And if you gotta work your head around those processes that Kevin is going to talk about, you realize, what it takes to make a difference, but then also the benefits that come with it. So, and why should you really do this? Yeah, because you can also deliver against your key success factors in a salon. Yeah, product sales can go up if you tap into the, the 3 points that I'm talking about. Productivity rates go up. So your employees spend more time actually providing services to a client than doing something else. Average visits per annum. So if you're also in the range of your clients coming 6 times a year, you can ramp that up, 12 times a year or even more. And then obviously people starting to talk about you, your business, your brand, your offering in your territory. And that also can increase dramatically. So you're creating that kind of people wanting to come to be a part of you. Okay, and it's possible because already some of us are doing it, and Kevin is definitely doing it. So why don't you? Yeah, so you can do it as well, because it's not rocket science. It's just stopping for a minute, thinking about what's doable, where I'm going, what processes do I need, who are the people that can help me with that, and then applying it into practice. Just do it. And yeah, this is exactly what you can do. But if you want to learn a little bit more about what the impact could be, I brought you 3 salon scenarios, so like 3 case studies that I would like to share with you. So number 1 is a traditional barbershop, yeah, and they see themselves as craftsmen, so a bit like the Tyler, that we talked about, because they can do like great bathrooms. So the craftsman here is focusing on the hair looks of the 20s to the 50s. So they're also using classic pomades, hair tonics, stuff like that. But when you look into the KPIs that you're probably also looking into with your salon business, you have an average, for instance, in Germany, like 4 to 5% when it comes to retail. Yeah, so 4 to 5% of the overall sales figure that you're generating within your salon business is coming from retail. So tiny little fraction. These guys here do 28%. So almost a third of the overall sales is coming from retail. So the recommendation of products to be used at home. So like classic pomades, hair tonics, maybe a comb to get the pomp right or whatever, that's it. And they're pretty good at it because they have a very tiny portfolio, maybe some shaving tools, yeah. And it's interesting. And due to the fact that they're focusing on that tiny little fraction of services that you can actually offer in terms of the haircuts from the 20s to the 50s, they also managed to get more people in to book appointments in the tiny time frame. Yeah. So their productivity rate is not 50% like the average hairdresser in Europe. No, it's 85%. So they're almost fully booked. It's almost like working in the time up to Christmas, like it was in the old days, like very busy, very humming, a lot of energy, great vibe, and everything clicks. I think this is the main component when I'm going into their shop. And yeah, average salon visits per year also goes up. So it's not like the odd 6 times a year, no, 12 times a year. So the people come at least every month to get, their fade refreshed, yeah, so to say. And so that's cool. And due to the fact that they don't do color, they managed also to have some, the number, the cost of goods that they need to have, like the number that you put into purchasing stock to perform color services, for instance, or products or shaving gear or whatever, is very, very, very small. Yeah, so they also generated a lot of money, like a cash reserve, and they're kind of still surfing pretty relaxed during these troubled waters that we have right now, because they have cash on the bank, and that lets them sleep at night. So I think, if anything, at least this should be also this first thing where you say, guys, I need to learn more about that. Yeah. So the second one, and this is the one I really like because it's kind of forward thinking. There's a lot of fashion inspiration involved, and you're gonna learn a little bit more about that in a minute. I'm almost there. It's like the new school barber. So it's a complete different game here, because it's not old school, it's new school. And it's a very, very, very interesting setup. You're going to learn a lot more about that setup here in a minute. So it's fashion inspiration that comes in, yeah. And also these guys manage to sell a lot more than the normal salon. So their sales retail ticket compared to overall sales is 18%. Productivity rates also 85%. And they even manage, because they're so good in terms of skin fading, that the guys are coming back 16 times a year. So they need almost half or a third of the clientele that a normal barbershop or a normal salon would need in order to fill up the books, fill up the columns. And I think this is also incredible, because that saves you a lot of marketing budget, that saves you a lot of activities that you got to do out there, or in return, everything that you do out there has a bigger impact in terms of attracting better customers, getting new guys in. And I think this is really cool. And due to the fact that the guys are also focusing on color, there's the average ticket goes up substantially. I mean, this is really a difference compared to the old school barbershop. Yeah, and there's other opportunities for growth, like focusing on hairdressing as such. Yeah, styling techniques, flexibility, because you have fashion updates twice a year: spring, summer, autumn, winter. And you also have the color segment that I just talked about. So this is great. And I have another salon, and they said to me, Dennis, we do not want to change the whole setup. I mean, we get you, we buy the stuff that you just shared with us. We do want to test. Yeah. So we have this area that is not really busy right now. So they kind of decided for themselves, let's block that out and let's create a pop-up barbershop in there. So an area that is, again, created, designed to cater for the modern gentleman, and also make a difference in terms of the experience of these guys. And I find that really interesting, because the results can really show that this decision was a very good decision, because retail goes up to 22%, productivity rates 80%. The customers come more often because they feel looked after, and obviously they see that the kind of delivery is different, because as a man you want to sit in a man chair, you don't want to sit in a unisex chair, and also listening or getting serviced in an area that is actually created for you gives you the understanding or the impression that, man, they are really understanding what I'm looking for. Yeah. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity if you don't want to change the whole setup, or if you don't want to go out and create a second shop. This can be a game changer for your business. And from the training that we did, like Kevin and myself did for these guys, we also learned that after the training, not only the service, was provided in a different way, but it also had positive implications in terms of their offering in the normal salon. So cleanliness of the shop went up, and even the way they kind of performed foiling techniques, like highlight techniques, was also much cleaner, much more precise, with a lot more discipline performed. And then also product consumption came down, because we kind of managed to change the way they look at things, and also determined the importance of working with a concept, working with a structure, and then also performing with a little bit more discipline when it comes to performing these services. So this is, I think, phenomenal, and the guys have also managed a fantastic job in Salon Maya. I like to call it Maya because it's kind of a German name, a very common German name. So these guys have enabled us to share the numbers with you. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really appreciative, so that the guys allowed us to share the look into their books a little bit with you. So, and the good thing here is they also have another opportunity, which is kind of, a precision that I'm just talking about. Color again, blow drying, yeah, so they can really show off what they can do with a round brush or with a styling brush. And then, technical hair cutting skills, because these guys are well trained, and now we train them further to upgrade and specialize in the area of men's grooming, which is phenomenal. So having said that, it's all about focusing on precision. Yeah, it's all about focusing on perfection. So perfect what you have in terms of processes, be precise in terms of your when you say something, when you work with the team, when you open the books, etc. And then obviously put your love in, put your passion in, and get everybody excited, because I think this is infectious, and in a positive way it's infectious, because if you are pro and if you are playing your A game, then you can really take your team and ignite the flame again with them, and then it's all about the experience at the end of the day. So, and if somebody asks me, what would you do, modern barbering versus the old school? Hey, I really like the old school stuff. Should I go there, or should I really focus on the way that, for instance, Kevin is doing? Then I would like to have. I like to invite Mark Twain on stage, that some of you guys hopefully are still familiar with, the guy that wrote Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, the novel. And he said, history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And I think this is also very important to, work a little bit with that statement, with that quote, because it helps you to understand that you cannot copy the past, but you can take the inspiration there and then create something that is relevant for today, but most importantly, also for tomorrow. And I think this is phenomenal. So just to kind of a little recap, it's almost everything is possible right now. So you even have the second chance for the first impression. If you apply these principles of outside of the box thinking, you can really, really turn your things around, and then take these opportunities to upgrade your current salon business model. And what that looks like in real life and what that actually means is next on our agenda.